my name is Jess and welcome to my channel, Jess in Romancelandia, where I talk about happily ever afters and romance novels and why they are worth our time. I am quite an open and vocal romance reader, romance lover. I talk about it on this channel of course, but if somebody asks me in my everyday life what I'm reading, I have no shame in talking about the latest romance novel that I've picked up. This does mean, however, that over the years I have been on the receiving end of some very interesting remarks about the romance genre and romance readers as a whole. This kind of attitude that looks down at romance is everywhere, and so I thought it would be really fun and interesting to make a video about things that you should not say to a romance reader because they have all heard it before. Why don't you read a real book? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realise that this collection of words forming a narrative into which an author has poured hours of time and research and effort and rewrites didn't actually count as a book just because it revolves around a love story. I'm so sorry. I'll put down my Sarah MacLean novel and start reading Ulysses right away. This is just such a weird comment because who on earth draws that line of what books are real and what books aren't real? What are romance books if they're not real? Are they just figments of my imagination? I do not know. But aren't you like a feminist? Yeah. Romance is just so trashy. The romance genre is comprised of millions and millions of books, so to generalise the whole genre as trashy is just impossible, especially as the word trashy in itself is a subjective judgment. What you find trashy, another person might find really moving, and vice versa. It's really hard to attach this one word to a whole genre without overlooking so many other people's opinions and preferences. Romance might be trashy for some people, it might not for others, but I also think that trashy as an insult is kind of outdated considering that so many people on the internet will quite proudly proclaim themselves as trash. Isn't it all just sex and mummy porn? I mean, there can be a fair bit of sex in romance, yeah, but steam levels vary, and in some romance novels there will be less sex than there is in a fantasy novel or a crime novel. Also, I really don't like mummy porn being used as an insult because it just seems to suggest that mother figures should in some way be ashamed of their sexual desires, their sexual appetite, the sexual material that they consume, which is just not the case. So basically, yes, romance can have sex in it. Sometimes it can revolve around sex, but that doesn't lessen the book's value at all. I think as a culture we just need to be far more chilled out when it comes to sex. People have no trouble kind of bigging up things that include violence. So why is sex so different? It's just a really weird set of priorities that I'm not really here for. They're just so unrealistic. This comment really makes me laugh because you look at a show like Game of Thrones or The Walking Dead, right, where it's praised for having a very accurate portrayal of the human condition or whatever, or being a realistic show in terms of the spectrum of human emotion and politics and everything. But these shows have fucking zombies, like they are not necessarily realistic, and that also does not lessen our enjoyment of them whatsoever. A piece of media, be it a book, a TV show, a film, does not have to be realistic to be enjoyable. If we base our judgment of how good a piece of media is on how realistic or reflective of our own lives it is, we're probably always going to dislike it, because I honestly don't believe that anyone's life is as exciting or packed with action as films and books and TV shows demonstrate. Romance novels are all the same, they're just so boring, says the person reading a James Bond novel for the third time. Romance does have several tropes and features and formulas that crop up again and again, but then so do other genres. That is a feature of genre. There's a popular theory out there that there are only 8 to 10 plots across all storytelling, so it's really not surprising that they do crop up again and again, and it honestly doesn't lessen my enjoyment of a plot just because it has some familiar tropes or structures in it. Hey, so you're single? No joke, I'm doing a romance module in my university at the moment, and one girl in my class said that her mother said that she only used to read romance books back when she couldn't get a boyfriend. Personally, I have read romance books while single, whilst in a relationship, and I have noticed no difference of my enjoyment in the genre either way round, and it's the same for many other readers and writers of romance that I know. Romance novels set a bad example for women, okay? They just give them such high expectations. I think women should have higher expectations. I mean, currently we're setting a very low bar. Also, I think it's really worth looking into what assumptions or expectations romance novels actually give people. Let's take Outlander, for example. Say I read Outlander, I don't then come away from that book expecting to travel back in time and be taken in and married off to some hot Scottish lord. And if that did actually happen to me, I probably wouldn't enjoy it. I quite like living here in the 21st century with modern medicine and rights. But if I come away from Outlander expecting that anyone that I give my love to should love me just as fiercely and loyally in return, I don't think that's a bad thing. It's all relative, and romance readers are far smarter than you give them credit for. They don't expect some strapping Scottish lord to throw them over the back of their horse and ride off into the sunset, but they do expect respect, and they expect that whatever they put into their relationships, they should get back. And I think that that is more than fair. Okay, I see your point, but like, they're just all so badly written. Some of them are, yeah, but that's true of any genre, isn't it? Romance novels have so many books published every year, so of course there are going to be some amongst that certain people find badly written or unenjoyable from a stylistic perspective, but that is going to be the same for crime and horror and even literary fiction. Also, I think it's worth saying that there are some stunningly written romance novels out there that really do show that a novel genre has no effect on the quality of the writing that it can contain. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed that little insight into some of the fun conversations I have with people about romance novels. I'd love to know if any of you guys have had similar conversations in your lives, or if people have been more receptive to the romance genre around you. So do let me know in the comments below. But until next time, thanks so much for watching and goodbye!